Today, you're going to learn data visualization with Matplotlib. We're going to use real Airbnb data to perform exploratory data analysis, learning how to create plots and subplots along the way. We're going to do all this through interactive lessons that I've prepared for you guys, as well as interactive code that's going to help bring your visualizations to life. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another episode of Code with Josh. For obvious reasons, I'm Josh, and I'm stoked to have you guys here on the channel. Do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. That really does help me a growing channel within the YouTube algorithm. All right, so like, subscribe, it's right here. Before I dive into the video, okay, the first link in the description is going to be the Airbnb dataset that I use in this video. And as a challenge, I've included a question for you guys that I want you to create the final chart in our subplot today. Well, that's all I have here. Let's dive into why you're here. Data visualization with Matplotlib. All right, guys, here we are in the intro to data visualization. And you can really think of this as exploratory data analysis, and it's going to teach you guys how to use Matplotlib with Pandas. Okay, let's dive right into it. So, which is better? Okay, very quickly, most of us are visual, so we're going to say the right pie chart. All right, but everything we've been working with is really just Pandas, and I've put that here on the left. Now, if you've missed it, this is my data analytics series, and I have been building each episode up until now to guide you guys through and give you a very good general understanding of Pandas and now Matplotlib. We've covered an intro to Pandas, I've covered filtering and grouping, as well as cleaning our data and aggregation. Okay, that's a lot to cover. Right, so everything we've worked with is over here on the left. Now, we want to take this data and I want to create a nice visualization because most people are going to interpret this a lot faster. All right, so this is the goal of Matplotlib. Okay, let's check out the basics. When it comes to Matplotlib, okay, we are going to start off by importing, well, Pandas, but then also Matplotlib itself. And Matplotlib has a module called PyPlot. We want this module, and I'm going to nickname it PLT. This is a very popular naming convention. You're going to see this quite a lot. It's just like with Pandas, we typically call PD. Matplotlib is typically called PLT for plot. Okay? Now, the two methods that you need to get started right out of the box are these two. Okay? Plot. It takes 3 arguments. We can give it more, okay, quarks, keyword arguments. But it takes an X, a Y. So typically this is going to be Pandas data, right? What do you want to be your X-axis, your Y-axis, and then the kind, the type of graph. So for example, down here, this is what we would call a line graph. Right? You could have a pie chart, a histogram, a scatter plot. And I'm going to cover this with you guys here in the next slide, but this can be replaced. And this is going to quickly construct us a chart with our data frame. Once we create the plot, all you need to do to show the plot is use the built-in show method that comes with Matplotlib. That's really it. All right, so let me break this down to the different types of charts we have that we're going to use in today's episode. Okay, so Matplotlib has a lot of charts. That's why it's one of the best modules for data visualization. All right, so here we have the type of chart. We have the plot method. I just covered this. And then we have the method we could use to further our customization. All right, now I'll cover this more. So if we create a plot and I want to create a scatter plot, inside plot I would just say kind equals scatter, right? Or maybe I want to plot the kind of a histogram. So kind equals histogram. Everything we've talked about so far is done with plot. And you can see these light bulbs. These are your tips for the day. Okay, so plot, it just uses the built-in capabilities of Pandas, And this is a lot faster and almost better for your initial exploratory data analysis. Okay, so I can quickly plot columns and rows within our data frame using the plot built-in method from Matplotlib. But if we want to take it a step up a level, all right, if I tap into Matplotlib and then I can link any chart method. So these are the methods. So plt.line, plt.scatter. And what this does is this takes your visualization a step further. It's going to allow you for more flexibility, control, but more importantly, why I tend to drift towards this one is customization, right? Because we can do some pretty crazy things with our charts, and the customization options are endless. All right, so spinning things up, plot is great to get started, and we're going to use this today. And then for more customization, we are going to use scatter. Right? In today's episode, I'm going to use both of these to show you guys. And remember, the link in the description, the first link in the description, is the same data set I'm using. And I actually want you guys as a challenge to create the 6th and final plot in today's episode. All right, this is going to allow you to practice everything you're learning here in the channel. Okay, so let's look at some code. How can we spin up our plot rather quickly using plot? So we go through, we do our imports. I create my data frame, and this is the Airbnb CSV data that is and this is the Airbnb CSV data that is the first link in the description. Okay, so head on down, get the data, and then try to use these. Okay, I've created a challenge for you guys. Inside Airbnb, we have a column for price for all the homes on Airbnb. So I could just take the entire price column and I can plot that. Okay? And notice I didn't put anything inside here. Okay, so naturally, it's just going to create a plot for me. And I'm going to show you guys the style of this plot. We can then give further customization options. I can give a title for the y-axis. I could give a title for the overall plot itself. Okay, now these two are going to help with organization. It's a key part of visualization. If you just create a plot with no names or no titles, what the heck am I looking at? Okay, so be specific. And remember, really all we need to get started would be this line, and then we want to show the plot. Pretty cool, okay? But now let's say we want to give a few kwargs. Okay, so a kwarg is a keyword argument. You can think of a kwarg like a Python dictionary. Every dictionary has a key and a value. Well, here we have key equals a value. This is a kwarg. Okay, so I can take my entire data frame here and I'm going to plot. But this time I'm not going to use the standard plot. I'm going to say it's going to be a scatter plot. I want the X to represent the price, and this is going to target the price column within our data frame because we're telling it to. And then the Y is going to be the number of reviews. Once again, I can give it a title and I can show it. Pretty cool. Okay, very cool. Now, this is the basics because we're just using a plot. But remember, we can customize this further. If I go back, we have all of these methods here. Okay, and today I want to teach you guys how you can create a subplot. So here is the subplot I'm going to be making with you guys. And I actually want you to picture the subplot as a window. Okay, so over here is a window. And if you think about, the window has a frame, right? The frame goes around the outside of the window. This subplot, the entire frame, is the entire canvas itself. And then within the frame, we have window panels, 1, 2, etc. 1, 2, etc. Okay, so we can really customize this however you want to create it. Okay, but I want you to think of a subplot as a window frame. And within the window frame, we have windows, and each window can be a different chart representing something else. Now, if this looks overwhelming, don't worry, I've got you covered. Guys, if you're getting value from this video, do me a favor. hit that like button and subscribe. That genuinely does help me a growing channel, okay, in the YouTube algorithm with a billion people out here, okay? So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all right, show some love. Okay, so going forward, the code for this, what might this look like? Okay, so right here is that window frame that I just had in the back. Imagine this as the window, okay? And each of these is a panel in the window. Okay, that's really what's happening here. Okay, so we import what we need in Matplotlib, and then to create a subplot, okay, I'm creating a subplot. I'm creating a figure as well as, I like to think of this as an axis, okay? This figure here is 2 by 2. So I'm telling it's going to be 2 by 2. And then generally I'm going to give it a figure size. And this is just going to be 2 integers. This figure here is a perfect square, okay? But really what this means is it's going to be a little bit wider than it is in height, okay? The one we are going to do today is going to be 2 rows with 3 columns. I want to stretch that. And this keyword argument, fig size, is going to help with that, okay? So I've created a subplot. Now, how do we get each of these to be a window in the window frame, okay? Right, because one is a histogram, one is scatter, bar, and line. Well, we can take our axes and we're going to use our brackets. Okay, so 0, 0 represents the top left. Row 0, Python starts on 0, column 0. This part here is 0, 0. Okay, this would be 0, 1. 1. All right, so that's how we can kind of get that. So I target the top left window frame and I say it's going to be a histogram. Okay, so I'm going to give it an X value. Bins is a keyword argument that we only need for histogram. And this is going to allow for the proportion of your data to be displayed properly in the histogram. Okay, so typically I'll put this at like around 20. What we do today, I'll put this as 20 as well. Okay, and then any plot, a further customization option, there are plenty. Okay, read the documentation, is I could change the color. Okay, so for all of these, this refers to our histogram. I can give it a title, X label, Y label. Pretty cool, right? If we move into the next box, I'm now targeting the next frame of my window, and it's going to be a scatter plot. X, Y, color, right? Moving on, we can just move on down here, okay? And this is how we can create a subplot. That's really cool, right? How do we show a subplot? Well, the built-in show method with Matplotlib. Okay, guys, let's get right to it. And remember, if you want to follow along with this, the first link in the description, head on down, pick up the data I'm working with, the starting code, okay? Because I'm not going to clean the data today. I covered how to data clean in last week's episode. So head on back, check that out if you've missed it. I'm going to give you that code to start with, and you can pick up right where I'm at and follow along together. Let's jump into VS Code and get our visualizations brought to life. Now that we're in VS Code, all right, it's time to get these visualizations brought to life. You can see that I've already gone through the cleaning process, okay, and I've tried to be very detailed here. I left comments to hopefully help you guys understand what's happening, but I didn't go through this because in last week's episode, I spent the whole episode breaking down data cleaning from A to Z for you guys. And I also included a practice unclean data set and a practice problems that you guys were able to use the skills we learned and do it together. All right, so remember, the first link in the description is going to be the data set I'm using today, the Airbnb data, and you can access all the other practice problems that I have for you guys absolutely free. Okay, so I'm going to run this very quickly, and we're going to see this output here. I want to make sure everything's taken care of, and then it's really on to Matplotlib. Look at my described data. I can see the data types that we're working with. This is after I've cleaned it. Okay, so everything is running great. Okay, so my data is cleaned. I'm going to turn these off. Okay, And before moving on, I'm going to go up top here and let's import. Import Matplotlib. If you have not installed this yet, okay, all you got to do is open up your terminal, okay. In your terminal, I would like you guys to run the command pip3 install Matplotlib. Okay, that's all you need to do. Right? I already have it. I'm not going to do that. So now in our code, anytime I refer to PLT, that's going to refer to Matplotlib. Pretty cool. I'm going to scroll down now. Okay, we are done up top. I'm not going to go back up there again. All right, so let's focus on here data visualizations. All right, so let's try to visualize the price, just like we covered in the lesson. Now, I'm just going to use plot for this. So I know within our Airbnb data here, okay, we have, where is it? Price. Okay, it's a column in here. We can't understand this, right? That's too much CSV. So I'm going to tap into my data frame, and we are going to say price. All I want to do is plot. Okay, so I'm going to call plot from Matplotlib. Let's take PLT, let's say Y label. Let's give it the name of price. Let's give our plot a name too. So really this could be called anything. I'm going to say plot of prices. And then how do we show the plot? Well, Matplotlib, I would like to show my plot. Let's run this to see your first chart. Boom, and there we go, right? So when I am not using any arguments inside plot, you can see that it just creates a bar chart naturally, okay? And we have here the prices here on the left, and then all the other frequencies or the listings that we have. Okay, so this is your first chart. We tapped into the price and we plotted it very quickly. Okay, so with exploratory data analysis, this is a great route to go. I'm going to take it a step further now. Okay, so now let's take our entire data frame and I want to plot. Okay, so now plot has access to all the columns in your data frame. Originally, I didn't give plot access to it. I only gave plot access to this column. But now it's accessing my entire data frame. Okay, so I'm going to create a kind here, and I'm going to say kind is equal to a scatter plot. What do I want the x to be? X equals really whatever you want to say here. Okay, let me get that away for us. I'm going to say here price, and then let's just say y is going to be equal to the number of reviews, just like that. And if I want to be sneaky, I can come in here and I'll say color equals, let's say purple. Okay, just like so. That's awesome. Let's give our chart a title. Okay, now the reason I'm not giving it a Y label or X label is because we kind of did that here automatically. All right, let's watch what happens. So I'm just going to say price versus num of reviews. This is a different chart, so I'm going to say plt.show. Now, I want you guys to watch what happens here. When I run this, only one plot is going to show at one time, which is kind of annoying depending on how you're looking at it. So the first chart shows, but when I want to see the second chart, I need to close it. Then the next chart appears. Okay, and you can see I spelled price wrong. Okay, whatever. Now this is our scatter plot. So it naturally has price and the number of reviews because that's the information we gave it. And this is great because now I can really see rather quickly all the outliers. I can see most of the data is warped towards here, which makes sense, right? Because $10,000 a night for an Airbnb, that's crazy. The number of reviews is probably going to be pretty low because let's face it, how many people are going to be renting that out? But when we get closer down here to like, I don't know, $100 a night, look at how many reviews that is, because that's just more feasible for most people, right? So what we've done so far is we just use plot on its own. And remember, this is great for quickly working with plots and getting your EDA up and running. But let's face it, I want to start working with a subplot because I don't want all the plots to pop up individually. I want them to boom all together where I can see everything at one time. This is really the power of subplots. So I'm going to say power of subplots. I like that. Okay, I don't want these to show every time. I'm just going to turn off show for now. So I'm going to create a figure and then an axis. Okay, and this is going to be equal to PLT. They have a method. There you go. Subplots. Now, for today, I'm going to create 5 different charts. You're going to do one on your own using the data that I put in the description for you guys. So how many rows do I want this to be? 2 rows, 3 columns. That's really what I want there. And I am going to give it a fig size. So fig size equals, I want this to be wider than it is taller. So I'm going to say 15 by 10. Okay, so now I've created the picture frame, not the picture frame, the window, right? The window frame. Let's start with the top one. So 0, 0. This represents the top left window. Okay, remember that. I would like this to be a histogram. Okay, so I'm going to use the hist method. And by doing so, this is not plot anymore. This allows for further customizations. What do I want the histogram to be? So let's say like this one is going to be like a price versus how often it occurs, so frequency. Okay. So as my X, I'm going to put in here my data frame price. Okay. Remember, histogram needs bins, so I'm going to say bins. And then finally, let's give this a color. Let's say something like, I don't know, light blue. Okay. You can check the colors on Matplotlib. AXX 00, I'm going to do set title. Okay. I'm actually going to copy this a few times. 1, 2. We are going to jump down here and I'm going to say X label, Y label. Okay. So right here, I'm just going to say price versus frequency. The X label is going to be price, and then the Y label will be frequency. So that's the first window frame completed. That's pretty great, actually. I'm going to move on to the next frame. So AXS, square brackets. I'm still in the first row, 0, but now I've moved to the next frame, 1. So in this one, let's try and show a number of reviews versus, once again, frequency. How often did they occur? And for this one, we can also do a histogram, okay? And this time we're going to target number of reviews. You guessed it. I'll say bins equals 20. Let's change the color here. Let's do something like red. Okay, pretty cool. I'm going to copy these. Okay, that's just faster. I'm on a Mac. If I hold down Option, I can do that in one fell swoop. The name of this is going to be, well, I actually already have the name here. Okay, so I'm just trying to be as accurate as we can because this is going to help the viewer of our data be able to interpret it faster. Number of reviews. Okay, that would be the next one. So let's build out the next few plots. Okay, so let's say for the next one, we want to, I want to group by the type of room and I want to show the average. So I'm going to be like, what do I need to do? Group by type of room and show average price. Okay, so before we need to do this, I need to create a group, really. So what we can do here is I'm going to say room type is equal to our data frame. We are going to group by. Guys, remember, I covered group by in a previous episode in this series. Head on over to the channel, check it out. If you're getting value from this, please help me out. Hit that like button. Okay, that really does help me in the YouTube algorithm, and consider subscribing. Okay, so group by. What do I want to group by? Well, I want to group by the room type. That's pretty standard. And then once I have the group of the room, I want to then section out the price. Okay, so the price of the room type. We can get the mean of that. Okay, just like so. Awesome. So now I'm going to go to the continue in the top row. Okay, and we are going to show this by a bar chart. Okay, so what do I want the X to be? What do I want the Y to be? Any guesses? Let's say room type, I have groupings. So I'm going to say room type. And then for my Y, once again, I have the type. So I'm going to say price. Okay, just like so. Inside here, let's say color equals, this time, let's say light green. Okay, pretty cool. Let's take all the information we had before, drop that in here. Let's change 1 to say 2. Here our title is going to become average price by room type. Okay, the X, what did we say the X was? Room type. And then we said the Y is going to be the price. All right, so the first row is done. I have 3 charts in the first row of my picture frame, my window, all right? So now we need to move on to the bottom row. And what we're going to do is I'm going to try and show the number of listings in each borough. Did I spell borough right? Okay. All my data refers to NYC, so we have what? Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. That's 5 different boroughs. So this time, when we take our axes, I'm going to say 1, 0. That's going to put it at the bottom now. Okay, what do I want to do for this? Well, this is going to be a bar. So before the bar chart, I actually need to do some stuff. So let's say here neighborhoods is equal to our data frame. Let's get our neighborhood group. I think that's the name of it. Let me check. Yeah. Oh, they spelled, did I spell neighbor incorrectly? Yeah, or they spelled it incorrectly. Tomato, okay. Neighborhood group, and I want to get the number of values. So values counts. All right, that's going to tell me how many different values we have within the grouping. Okay, let me take my neighborhoods that I have here, and I'm going to create the columns for those, and we're just going to say as a list, neighborhood group. I'm going to copy this, as well as count, because I want to know how many there are. All right, so all right, we have the columns. So returning here, I am going to say neighborhoods, okay, as my x-axis, and we are going to say neighborhood group. Okay, that is our x-axis for this. Cool. Our y-axis is going to be, you guessed it, it's going to be count. Okay, I'm going to give a color in here. What color haven't I used? I'll say orange. Okay, trying to use different colors. Let's take this stuff. I'm going to drop this in here. Let's change everything now to be 1, 0. The name of this, we are going to say listings by neighborhood. All right. The X label will be what? Neighborhood, I guess. That's what we said. And then we are going to say what? Count. No, let's say number of listings. It is the count though, right? Very nice. Okay. This brings us to our last plot that I'm going to plot here. That brings us to 5 plots, guys. Okay, so the last one, let's say price versus number of reviews. And we actually did this one together using plot up top. Okay. So this one is going to be 1, 1, not 2, 1. This is going to be a scatter just right off the bat. The X is going to be the price. And the Y is going to be the number of reviews. Okay. Color for this one, what haven't I used yet? Oh, blue, green, red, yellow. I don't know. Let's do blue. It's pretty much about it, guys. So I'm gonna run this for us. We're gonna get to CSS output. Let's just change our final styling to 1, 1. We are gonna say price versus reviews. X is our price, and Y is number of reviews. That's awesome. So if I run the code, nothing is going to happen. Why? Well, we need to do 2 things. Really just one thing. Technically, we just need to do plt.show. But when working with subplots, it's a good idea to squeeze everything together. So I'm going to say plt.tightLayout as the final one. Okay, let's run this. Let's see your visualizations brought to life. Remember, this is exploratory data analysis. Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe if you're getting value. Ooh, error. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, an exception was called. Okay, so boom, boom. The only thing, room type 1, I can think of is it's getting confused with the brackets. Let me see if that was the issue. No, okay, that definitely wasn't the issue. Okay, so what did I miss here? I'm gonna keep 1. Okay, I'm creating a group. I'm gonna say reset index. That's gonna clear the index because we've been manipulating it. So if I reset the index, I'm hoping that clears it up to restore its original state. No, that's not working. Oh, wait, that worked, actually. It's just, now this is a different error. This error comes down here, neighborhood group. Let's do the same thing here then. Reset index. Yes. Okay, so make sure we reset the index on that. Bring that smaller. Okay, so guys, look at that. Okay, absolutely incredible. So we have created this initial finding, and you can see everything plotted out that you can clearly and quickly visualize, right? The entire homes, that price changes the most. We have a private room or a shared room, the price drops drastically. You can see here, I have to space this out a little bit more for us. Manhattan, Brooklyn have the most apartments. Staten Island has the least, and Queens is in the middle there. All right, this is great. I've left this one blank, guys. All right, head on down, get the Airbnb data, and I've put a question for you guys to try and plot. I want you to try and create the 6th and final chart for our subplot. There you have it, guys, an introduction to Matplotlib here in Python. Remember, guys, if you got value from today's video, do me a favor, hit that like button, okay? And if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. That really does help my channel grow, and it helps it within the YouTube algorithm. And remember, the first link in the description is the data set that I used here today, as well as a challenge that you can use to practice everything you learned. All right, that's the first link in the description, and down in the description are all the other links that can help you in your Python journey. All right, I've included my Python newsletter down there that you guys are welcome to check out. Come join in my data analytics series that I have going on right now. Well, until next week's episode of Code with Josh, I will see you then.